back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from Fitch-Rona EMS. It's the Chief.
Good afternoon, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Good. You are more peppy today, aren't you?
I am trying to be. I was told I needed to match your peppiness level.
I bring it every time, so
Right.
you're going to have to see what happens here.
Shooting pretty high. I'm going to try.
We're not in the front of the ambulance, so we should be
go.
okay. You just had your annual meeting at your board, the Fitch-Rona. Is it the EMS Commission? Is it the FRIMS EMS Commission?
So it's always weird to try to negotiate what that is, right? So part of our intergovernmental agreement, right, we're a district. So that is City of Fitchburg, City of Verona, Town of Verona. And as that district, we are formed essentially by an intergovernmental agreement through those three entities. And that was written back in 1976, and it said at the annual meeting of all three of those municipalities that we shall have a meeting and get all those municipalities together in one room, and they need to sit down and talk with each other and essentially give a state of the state. It's pretty antiquated, right? Back in
You could have grabbed them. Did you grab a mic and start walking and do some pacing? Our guys were prepped for you for pacing.
They did. I tried to stay in one spot.
Oh, thank you.
I did. But yes, they did wire me up so I could walk around.
Whoa! Now you even have a
They did.
have the mic on you.
I was
so
trying,
proud.
but historically, when we were volunteer service, the commission did so much more to essentially pay bills and manage things. And 2001 when we became a full-time service, and now we've got so many more support staff now. We're still answer to that commission, answer to the municipalities, but we're much more self-sufficient than we were 40-some years ago now. But it's still in that intergovernmental agreement, so every year in October, the third Thursday, put it in your calendar to fall asleep to annually.
Fall asleep? Come on! Don't sell yourself short.
It's hard to maintain this level of pep right up there in front of the council chambers.
All right. Well, we're going to get you pepped and prepped
Right.
all in the same time here. Let's start with a couple of things that you did talk about. First off, run volume. The district is facing just an increasing level of calls.
We are, and it's countywide. It is not just us, but it's us. We are to make that claim to fame, whether it's good or bad or not. We are the second largest EMS agency outside of the city of Madison, and that's not with the greatest population, but we're busy. And so that's always, I share that monthly with my commission, right, who is those representatives. This is, the annual meeting is the municipalities, all those board members get to come ask their questions. But I share that monthly, especially as we're trying to do some forward thinking, right? What does it look like in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as we continue to grow? Our 45 or 47-year average of call volume is about 4%, right? But we have seen, we're currently, I believe it's at just under 9% this year. I believe the last 2 years were double-digit increases. So we've seen that spike in that call volume just go up the last 5 years. It's growth, right? All those municipalities are growing. We have an aging population, again, not just us here in our local municipalities. It is across the nation, but we have an aging population, and that population requires EMS.
And you think about it, Fitchburg, fastest growing community, had been titled that for the last couple of years. That comes with, again, the growth just in the district and between Verona and Fitchburg alone, is incredible. I would say, too, that the aging population is an interesting one, and you could probably spend a whole time discussing, the effects of that. But there's a lot of municipalities who are trying to prep for that now, because that is a big, big situation coming down the road.
It is, and I love the municipalities we work for. They keep their department heads of all their departments very involved in the planning process and solicit our input. And every time that comes up in the planning area, we're looking at more senior housing, which there's a demand for it. And then subsequently, it's usually a senior housing, assisted living, memory care, right? That transitional housing, which is phenomenal. But that's where we go. So every time we look at building those facilities, or the municipalities look at building those facilities, I want to make sure that they are informed, right, that there's a trickle down to that, right? That is absolutely going to affect your protective services.
So with that being said, as looking in the budget for this upcoming year, with our growth, you are planning for the growth. And that is something you've talked about on this show many, many times. So it's nothing new. But how do you plan for this future growth, knowing all of these factors are coming, plus the unknown?
Sure. So, one of the unique things about an ambulance service is I can't just hire one person at a time. Like most departments can just hire one more person to plow the streets or mow the the medians. For me to put an ambulance in service full-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I need 7 people. Right, so that is a roughly $1 million increase in a budget in 1 year. I would love to have that money, be able to do that. That'd be the easiest thing, right? Hiring 7 more people. It's not the greatest option, right? So we've looked at a couple different options, and really the option we're proceeding with right now that seems to be the most cost effective and still gets us there. We're going to call it a peak time ambulance, right? I don't necessarily need another 24/7 truck. It'd be great if I had it. Don't necessarily need it. But we know, and this is something I report to the commission every month, you can go back and watch the annual meeting, you actually see the graph up there that says we know that between about 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. or about 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day is when we see the spike, right? That is when the greatest need for EMS services happen. I track every month when all of our ambulances are out at the same time. I track every month how many times all of our ambulances are out, and somebody else actually has to come in, right? Usually it's the city of Madison being closest, but Middleton has come in, Mount Horeb has come in, Belleville has come in, Oregon has come in, right? If we're out of ambulances, somebody has to come in. So we know when those times roughly are. So we're working on essentially peak time staffing, right? So I don't have to hire 7 full-timers. To a 7-day-a-week, even peak time truck would be 5 full-timers, right, to make that happen.
Yeah.
So we're scaling that back, and we're actually trying 2 days a week. And the goal is over the next 3 years then is to add 2 more days, right? I know that math doesn't work out, but if I do 2 days this year, 2 days next year, 2 days the year, so I know I still fall short a day, so I'm going to try to slip a 3rd day in there sometime over the next 3 years. But we can gradually get there, and then from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., we're shooting right now maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oddly enough, there's not really a day of the week where we have our greatest amount of calls. We say it starts out low on Sunday and goes up to the end of the week, and then nobody wants to go back to work on Monday, so they
just never know.
Call an ambulance, right? But so the option would be probably like Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 a to 7 p. We will actually have a 4th ambulance on starting next year.
All right. Well, we'll follow back up with you on that one as it gets in place. Finally, and stuff you've actually seen on this show is some of the grants that you were awarded. We'll look at the EPIC grant first. A great partner, certainly in the community, but it's the tools that you have on the. We've talked about this too. It's pretty nice to have those things and to again increase that level of care too.
Yeah, absolutely. They are great community partners, and we always get the specific instructions, right? We don't want any publicity, don't be recognized. I got to recognize them, right? They're
thank you.
Thank you publicly to thank them, and I send them the letter that says thank you very much. They are great community partners. So yeah, with our money, the request this year, right? We always look at it's a needs versus a want. So really, I've got that little list up there of needs. Like these are some needs we could use, but at the same time, right? It's the priority, right? I also need people. I need to staff that ambulance. So what are our needs requests? We actually got 2 of them this year. One of them is our e-bikes. So actually the original bikes, our EMS bikes we got, I believe it was about 2012. So we're looking at about 12 years now from when EPIC got us our first bikes. And we predominantly use them when we go support the EPIC events, right? It is a big campus, so we can get around inside with those bikes. But we also use them at our other events.
I was going to say, we got just a few bike trails around here, but you guys cover a lot of events too, and you can get to people quicker on bike. Who knew?
We do, right? When we, large one is the Alliant Energy Center, when we, between us and the City of Madison, support the World Dairy Expo, right? We support the Midwest Horse Fair, the Dane County Fair, all those things. It's much easier to get around on bikes than it is, with an ambulance. We're not getting an ambulance in there, so
not happening.
No, the bikes have been great, but I've had to use my own legs to power myself up those hills all those years, right, with the bike.
Well, you look pretty fit, Patrick. So I don't know. It seems like it's working, bud.
It's because I had to ride up those big hills up at EPIC with my own 2 legs. So we were able to get some e-bikes this year, and they're actually designed to be first responder e-bikes. So we got 2 of them this year. Pretty slick. One of Chip, who's one of my paramedics, was the one he's a big bike guy. So put a training program together, and he calls them very spicy.
Spicy.
Very spicy.
Interesting.
So
all right,
yeah, I put my bike helmet on and took one for a first ride here about a month ago, and I would concur. There's some get up and go.
I was like, this was your first time riding in the ambulance afterwards?
Yeah, like these.
You fell off and you were, yeah. Okay.
No, that's some spicy bikes.
Pretty cool stuff there, though. Again, helping help fit the need. What was the other piece that they provided?
So the other one, and we jokingly call it a bounce house, but it's an inflatable shelter. And this one, again, they're not all the purpose we buy things for, Patrick, but this was, so we have a rehab trailer. We've talked about it on the show, right? As opposed to having all of our stuff spread out between 3 stations. A handful of years ago, we repurposed a free trailer from the county. And so we keep that at our Fitch-Rona station, but in it, it's our responder rehab. So largely it goes to things like structure fires, but we use it for special events. The cross-country meet in Verona every year, right? A very large event. We take it out there. So in there is chairs, water, a shelter, misting fan, nutrition. There's actually a very large oxygen manifold in case we had to treat multiple people for like a carbon monoxide exposure. All that is in this trailer. So 2 times this year, we happened to get structure fire, one here in Fitchburg, the other one was out in Cross Plains. It is a regional asset. So we love that Fitch-Rona can be a regional partner to everywhere in Dane County. But 2 times that call came right after 6 o'clock when I started in the morning. So I hooked that trailer up, hopped in the car and took it out to the scene in the pouring rain, which means Patrick got to provide rehab. In the pouring rain, right? He got wet. I didn't melt, clearly, right? But idea popped in my head. I would love to have something other than the pop-up tent shelter. And we put in for our Epic, and we purchased an inflatable shelter. So it's about the same size. The interior of it is about a 12 by 15. So it's the same size as our pop-up tent, but it's completely enclosed with actually a floor. So now that it gets us out of the elements, right? So we can pop it up, but actually we'll need to do another video of it, right? It's about a 2.5 minutes. By the time you plug that little inflator in there, 2.5 minutes, I have a pop-up shelter with walls. It gets our providers, our responders, out of the elements, right? So if it is pouring rain, we can get them out of the rain. And our job is, right, we need their fire gear off because we are checking vital signs, making sure that they're hydrated in nutrition and they can get back in if they need to go, if they need to get back in and fight that fire. So it's important that we get them, get all that fire gear off, and now we're not doing it in the rain anymore.
Wow. That's pretty cool. 2 minutes, huh?
2.5 minutes from the time we plug it in to get it up there, and that's you've chatted with Devin on the show here, right? That's his actually training this month. It was when him and I first put it up, tried to pop it up inside. We got it up in 2.5 minutes, and probably took us about 30 minutes to get it down and all the air out of it and pack it up into its little burrito. But now that he's been doing it probably a dozen times this month, he said they can actually get that thing packed up in about 5 minutes.
About as easy as an easy up tent,
Yeah,
getting that back in the bag.
We call it our bounce house, but it is a pop-up shelter. There's pictures of it. If you watch our annual meeting, we got a picture of it.
Fantastic. We probably already showed it, Mr. Anderson. All right, final one is the FAP grant. That's FAP.
FAP
grant. What'd you get from?
Stands for Funding Assistance Program, right? So it's actually every EMS agency in the state of Wisconsin that applies for it gets funding from the state. Just happened to be governor a couple of years ago, got some support from the legislation to increase that support for EMS services by a huge amount. So last year that FAP funding was a huge amount. So again, looked at my board up there that said, what could this service really use that would help the district, in this case actually even again regionally, that I don't necessarily need the taxpayers to pay for, or at least our local taxpayers. I understand I'm getting state funding. But what would be a good option? And I've had it on my board for a couple of years now, and that's actually an oxygen generator. So we have oxygen in our ambulance, right? Portable ones, large tanks in the ambulance, and we depend on an outside agency to fill those for us. So it's always coordinating, and we have 3 different stations, right? So coordinating with an external vendor to get into 3 locked stations once a week, pick up, drop off, fill them up, bring them back. In addition to that, right, everybody's got delivery charges. So every week we were up to about $35 per week, right, for them to come out, pick up, and drop off. So really look what this oxygen generator does, and we installed it in the Verona station. We make our own oxygen, and we can fill our own tanks. So a couple things with that. One, I like to say I'm saving $35 a week, right? It comes at a pretty significant price tag, but we estimate, right, within 5 to 7 years there's going to be cost recovery on that. But yeah, we can fill our own tanks in there. I'm not dependent on that external source anymore. Other part of that is being self-sufficient now, right? In the event of a disaster, I can still fill my own tanks. We have shared that information along with our nursing facilities. Oak Hill has an assisted living center, right? I've shared that information, not that I want to be in the practice of filling their tanks.
No, but in that emergency, it's sort of that disaster preparation piece. It's the same with the rehab trailer. It's being ready for whatever's thrown at you, and you just never know.
Worst case scenario, right? We could actually get tanks and we could fill them for all of our assisted living facilities and keep everybody up and running, being very self-sufficient.
Wow. Well, it was a productive meeting then. See, the hype is there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, all that I said here in 5 minutes was an hour and a half, so.
There you go. Well, you can check that meeting on Fact TV, or else you can reach out to Mr. Hanson, right? You can just give you a call, send you an email if you got any questions, right?
Absolutely. Anytime.
Anytime.
Love conversing with the public and sharing what we do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.